The biggest storyline heading into MLP Phoenix was the Wang Yun suspension. If you missed the video on why he was fined $50,000 and suspended, I'll pin the link in the comments below. It was initially announced that he would be suspended for the entire event, but it was walked back to just the first 4 matches of the event. The Mad Drops used Spencer Smith as opposed to their own sub, Wes Burrows, meaning that they started every single game that Spencer played in down 1-0. On Thursday, the Mad Drops started off with a loss to the Brooklyn Pickleball Team, and Utah secured their first win of the season over the Atlanta Bouncers. Irina Terashenko was sidelined for the hard eights, so SoCal used their 17-year-old substitute, Jalina Ingram. She and Blaine actually won their mixed against a really good team of Augie and Tyra, so that was an impressive result for them, but the team still lost in regulation. In any other sport, we'd be shocked if a 17-year-old was hanging at the professional level. I think we're just desensitized to it since Annalie Waters has been winning titles since she was like 12, and we have other star players like Big H, Gabe Tardio, and George Johnson, who continued her MLP tear this weekend. In the last match of the night at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, LA scored a win over the Flames without QD. This is pretty big for their playoff seeding hopes, which we're going to get into later in the video. But in other pickleball news, it was a pretty big weekend for the Chaifetz Group, and their MLP team, the Shock, didn't even play this weekend. Vulcan Pickleball was acquired by the Chaifetz Group and Stack Athletics. The Chaifetz Group also made some enormous claims that their MLP is going to be the best Major League Pickleball of all time.
As you can see here in July, we're going to put on the biggest and best ever pickleball event, period, in this venue in Chaifetz Arena.
They're hosting it at St. Louis at the Chaifetz Arena, and they made a bunch of really big claims. So the absolute best thing that Major League Pickleball has done so far this year is getting out of the way of their team owners. If the team owners want to have a pissing contest with their events, by all means, let them. In fact, I think encourage them to try and outdo one another. There are some serious promises made by Ross Chaifetz, so let's hope it's shock and awe and not smoke and mirrors. Anyway, back to MLP. On Friday, Phoenix took out Atlanta in a dream breaker despite this bizarre distraction call against Tyson McGuffin.
Wow. Chaos. Oh.
Wait a second.
Wow. Okay, hold on
Wait a
here.
second.
McGuffin was cheering and folks running for the ball. And a point is awarded to Fote here.
Maybe there's just something about Mesa that makes refs want to call hindrances or distractions, because 2 years ago, we had the infamous James Ignatowicz split-stepped too hard distraction as well.
Here's the look. That was a big split he
He just got called for an aggressive split step.
I actually agreed with Tyler Loong's take for once. Nearly all distraction or hindrance calls are a cop-out made by the player losing the point. Pickleball has a choice to make. Do you want the energy from the players and spectators? If so, enough with these petty calls. Hey, even a broken clock is right twice a day. In my opinion, the only thing that should constitute a distraction is a false out call from a player on the court. Other than that, play on. Brooklyn versus Dallas was a very good match. Georgia and Tyra withstood a late comeback from Rachel and Jackie to go up 1-0. The Dallas men returned to their form with a win over Riley and Deckel, and the Johnsons came back from 4-10 down to clinch the win over Deckel and Rachel, which was one of the wildest mixed matches of the entire year. The game brought us this wild mixed point as well. As Memes pointed out, Rachel and Deckel actually won this point. The last mixed match didn't mean anything for the outcome of the match, but we had another bizarre instance of a bizarre overrule. If I'm reviewing this call in the booth, I'm calling this out 100% of the time. Yeah, it's close, but it's out to me. And, oh yeah, on Thursday, we also had this weird scenario. Catherine calls this ball out. Taking a look at the stream, it definitely looks out to me, but it's not the best angle. Let's check the replay. Wait, what? There's no way that's the right shot. I wonder what was actually reviewed behind the scenes. Catherine was shocked, and I would be pissed if it was displaying that while I was playing that egregiously wrong call. Anyway, Saturday was business as usual. The Flash cruised past Utah. The Brooklyn Pickleball Team swept Atlanta. The Mad Drops, still without Wang Yun, beat Utah 3-1. Atlanta beat SoCal 3-1. And at 11:30 Eastern, the Flash took out the hometown Flames despite a little Jack Sock showtime. When Jack Sock is being athletic, playing free and loose, and being aggressive, he's amazing to watch. But other than that, the Saturday night match, the crowds were pretty underwhelming, especially when compared to previous electric tournaments like MLP in 2023 and the most recent PPA at the same venue. While I'm sure it was pretty awesome in person, I think late night pickle may have been a flop. Starting matches at 11:30 is just too late. Maybe it's because the Phoenix Heat, which I could understand, but Meme summed it up pretty well. What do you think about late night pickleball? On the last day of the tournament, we played pickleball at a reasonable hour. In the first match, Utah took out SoCal 3-1, and for the first time in 385 days and 27 matches, the Mad Drops were able to play with their full lineup. Last year, the team lost Thomas Wilson early in the year with a scary health problem. In Orlando, Hunter Johnson was out, and for the first 4 matches of this event, Wang Yun was suspended. Things started out promising for the Drops against the Flash, with their women handing Tyra and Georgia their very first loss of the year at 11-3. But the Flash won the next 3 matches to stay undefeated on the year. LA was able to rebound with a 4-0 win over Atlanta, and Phoenix had a disappointing loss to the Hard Eights. You have to feel like the Flames are pretty much out of playoff contention, going 1-5 at their home event, which was probably their best chance to earn really important playoff chase points. The Flash are basically now dead even with the Shock on a points per match basis, but honestly, I'd rather be in Dallas's position since St. Louis has played fewer matches than Dallas. Brooklyn jumped the Squeeze and the Ranchers to the 4th spot in the standings in points per match. With a solid weekend, the Black Diamonds are actually in playoff contention in the 10th spot. The Bouncers and the Flames have played 60% of their season, so playoffs are not looking good for them with their points per match. And if we take a look at the player standings, consensus world number 1 Pat Smith is on top of the rankings. He won both matches, filling in for an injured Riley Newman. Next week is Daytona MLP. I'm making recap videos every week, so if you like this, subscribe and follow to stay up to date with everything in pro pickleball.